AI has become so overhyped that people stop listening. In this episode, we simplify AI so that even your gran can understand it. But if you don't understand it, you will fall behind. So Mark, if I was your gran, how would you explain AI? In the simplest way possible.
Okay, so I normally use the restaurant analogy. The way I put it is you see a bunch of chefs in a kitchen. All of them have got their own background, their own recipes, their own way of cooking a meal. And every scenario within the AI environment is very specific to that situation. Okay, so each chef has got his own way of prepping its meal. It knows what he did wrong the last time, what he did correct. And all of them kind of sit in the same kitchen and make sure that they put down the food correctly. Make sure the taste is where it needs to be. It looks presentable. It smells great. And that's kind of what the AI environment looks like. It is very specific to each meal. It's very specific to each environment. And each individual chef kind of brings their own flavor, their own way of doing it, like I mentioned, what they did wrong and what they did right. So then they all put that knowledge and that information and how to perfect this meal into a final presentable in-customer kind of user-friendly setup.
Hundreds. And the tech, explain the tech behind it. Like, what does it look like in layman's terms?
So I have to admit, a lot of people, I don't think, understand what AI actually means. A lot of people look at ChatGPT and think that's AI, that's the future. It's actually not. AI is a lot more vast than that. Okay, so when we look at the algorithms, the mathematical equations, you look at pattern recognition, there's so much data and information that needs to be computed, that needs to be kind of transacted with before you can actually get a user level output. So when we look at AI, like I said, there's a vast amount of information, and if you put garbage in, garbage coming out. So yeah, that's definitely the way it goes.
And the actual tech, in terms of servers, in terms of what's processing, like you said, that amount of information, what is it, shed some sort of light into what is it that environment actually like?
Okay, so when we look at what is required to make an AI environment, AI solution work, there's a lot of back-end moving components, okay? First, you need data, you need information. It needs to be fed into a knowledge base where the AI can go and look for it, go and transact with it. Like I mentioned, garbage in, garbage out. As soon as you don't put the right information in or filter or see or recognize the correct patterns, a lot of the information that you're going to work with is going to put incorrect or garbage output, okay? So once you've got that vast amount of data and information, you kind of need to compute it, you need to transact with it, you need to interact with it. And that is kind of where the HPE portfolio comes in quite strong, quite well. You look at the high performance compute environments, it's basically a whole building or a whole room of infrastructure in making sure that data is being processed correctly. And like I mentioned earlier in how AI kind of works is once you've got the data, it needs to be transacted. Each time the data is transacted, it kind of remembers the last time it interacted with it and how it interacted with it. And you need now to store that answers or that information that's been processed. So again, you look at your storage environment, you need to scale rapidly. Okay. So again, if we look at our portfolio of storage in the Electro environment, that makes it quite scalable. You can scale up, you can scale out seamlessly. So that's very important to make sure that once you've got the data and you've processed it, you can store it. And then nothing of that is going to be relevant if you don't have the software to interact with it. Okay, so we look at platforms where you kind of need to interface with it. You need to manage the AI mathematical algorithms in the back end. So software is very important. And then after you've got all this moving and everything is in the day-to-day operations, how do you secure it? How do you make sure that there's no ransomware attacks? How do you make sure that your data stays relevant? So that is a very important part in making sure that your AI environment or your high-performance compute environment stays relevant.
Will we keep scaling? Will we keep having to increase data centers and stuff like that? Information like you're saying, we got to capture, we got to hold, and it's going to keep growing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So where do we find the space to almost have infinite amount of information living somewhere.
So I have to admit, that is why I love the HP portfolio. Again, we're giving you a lot more for a lot less. We look at the HP's compute environment where it can consolidate a lot of the legacy kit, the older generation compute environments to a lot less. So previously I had bulky, clunky type of compute environments, storage environments. Now they're giving you a lot more with a lot less of rack space requirement. So yes, you will need to ever grow and ever expand. There will always be a demand for it. There will always need to be data more stored, a lot more data transacted with. So again, that's where HPE's, the new Gen 12s on the ProLiant series is quite good at. You can consolidate a lot of legacy servers all the way back to just one or two Gen 12 nodes. So again, HPE is aware of how they need to make sure that they don't stack a whole room full of kit. They kind of want to consolidate it and give you a lot more output with a lot less.
And businesses that you're seeing that are using AI and they're using this type of technology well, and it's making a difference. That's the thing. We want tasks to be simpler. We want work to be more seamless. Are there guys that are winning at it?
Definitely. The one scenario I always use, and I think that's one thing that us as the humankind can be very proud of, is in the medical field. You either use medical imaging to take x-rays and scans and kind of see preemptively, is there something wrong? Is there going to be something wrong in the future? Does the certain patterns that I recognize look like it's going to be an issue in the future? And I think that for me is, from a human perspective, from going forward, that is for me is quite impressive. If you just look at the HP portfolio, if you look at the Aruba Central, which has got built-in AI, if you look at intent-based provisioning, if you look at day-to-day task automations, a way of securing, you look at data services cloud console, like I mentioned, the storage, automating the environment, kind of freeing up your day-to-day guys' time. You don't want them running around. You kind of want, if you can automate certain tasks with the right corrective information, you can kind of free up some space and free up some resources.
For businesses out there, is adapting or including this in their current scope or in their environments simple? Is it challenging?
Oh, look, AI is a funny conversation because a lot of people think they need it because it's going to make life easier. They're going to reduce headcount. It's going to be automating of tasks. Life is just going to get better. But honestly, you need to understand your environment first. Is there actually a set place for it? Is your workloads, is your data center environment ready for it? Again, if you need to expand rapidly to kind of allow for this computing, high performance compute that needs to happen. And again, like I said, you need to make sure that your infrastructure and your workload and your day-to-day business requirements actually need it. So you need to understand the environment to know whether or not it will fit, because there's a lot of back-end stuff that needs to happen. You need to feed it the information. Buying the kit is the least of your worries. Making sure the correct information is fed, making sure that it transacts with your environment correctly. That is the key portion of it. So there's a lot of pre-scoping and preemptiveness that needs to happen with this type of conversations before you just rapidly start deploying AI. I also look at when you drive to certain coastal areas, you see half-built houses, or you go into security complexes, you see a guy around out of money mid-project. Yeah. So that's kind of where the AI kind of sits if it's not done and scoped correctly. So yeah, be careful of rushing into the AI conversation or the high-performance compute conversations and making sure that you understand and you've budgeted correctly for it.
Solutions like you mentioned, the HPE and Smart Choice, how do they handle kind of some of the workloads in different environments and their integration with different software? Is it seamless? Are they helpful for even handling, like we're speaking about some of these AI workloads?
100%. There's sometimes a little bit of a misconception as what Smart Choice, the Smart Choice purchasing program is. Smart Choice is all about taking what you know as HPE, as the compute, or whether it be storage or tape backup libraries, and taking that exact same kind of build that you would require and the standards that you expect from HPE and just bundling it up in SKUs. It's not third party, it's not refurbed, it's not bought or back-end stuff. It's all the still standard HPE kind of way and standards to it, but it's just bundled up in SKUs. So yes, 100%, there is the option of adding accelerator and graphics cards into those specific nodes. So yes, you can actually utilize that Smart Choice purchasing programs for it. Like I said, if you do the conversation around project-based build, configure to order, that you kind of need to sit down and build everything from scratch. Simplifying the process towards it is going to make it easier. So you take a certain set of bundle that will do exactly what you need, you add some additional components within to it, and it ships rather quickly. So
then obviously Mark, as a technical team lead at Axiz, what would you suggest for people listening, for everyone out there? Like, where would you say start the AI, start integrating and looking at things like HPE and solutions like their Smart Choice at any level? What is your kind of advice to people jumping into it?
I would suggest start off a conversation with resellers or the service providers is go understand the environment. Go look at what they actually need. Do they need a full-blown deep machine learning system? Do they need agentic AI? What kind of solution will actually fit into the environment before you barge in with the solution? Don't help you put something down that's not future-proof, that's not sustainable. So when you look at that, understand it first, then go look at what's going to be the right fit for you. Do you need to integrate multiple softwares? Do you want one kind of vendor solution? What kind of setup are you actually looking to get from what you're going to purchase?
And some of the challenges you've seen, or whether it's environments or businesses, what are you seeing people struggle with out there, and obviously speak to how they can avoid it or things to look out for?
So I have to start off with people that's got a big misconception of what AI is. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not a chatbot. It's all about decision trees. It's all about making use of the algorithms to get to the answer or get to your outputs quickly and cost effective as possible. So every time you kind of run a script or you run the algorithm, you kind of work and bash your environment a little bit. So every time you kind of request something, your system gets a little bit degraded. So that's when you make sure whenever you request something, it happens up front. And if you have encountered with a certain scenario, you kind of just jump back to it. It doesn't need to recalculate everything from scratch.
A bit of a random question then, but obviously with the whole AI exploding, I think, in many different ways, what is it going to do to jobs? Like realistically, like I'm saying randomly, but for me, chat is my personal trainer, my dietitian now. Like
email checker. Yeah.
So what happens with all these things to people out there that are concerned at different levels? Because there's so much that it can do, so much information that we wouldn't be able to process or be able to do. Like, yeah, I think it's just interesting. It's obviously super exciting. There's a lot of opportunity, but on the flip, what does it do to people's jobs?
I don't think we're close to the age and time. Like I said, if you look at the gold rush we're sitting in at the moment, I mean, a couple of years back, it was the cloud rush. Everybody had to get their environment off-prem. They need to get it on cloud. They need to experience it. They want to spin up, spin down seamlessly without any issues. But if you look at the AI conversation again, as soon as people start realizing exactly, what the issues and the hiccups and the growing pains were with cloud, they kind of started migrating back to the environment, which caused quite a bit of issues. So back to the AI conversation, I think it's pretty much the same thing. You need to be very sure and very pedantic on how you want that AI environment to interface. I don't think people really need to get worried about losing their job or needing to close down a business because everything's going to be automated out. There's still a human factor behind what people need to interface with. So yes, it can automate some things. It can make life easier. It kind of recognizes the patterns and being preemptive and being as quick as possible. But from what we're seeing currently in the market and what we're seeing in the environment, I don't think that's yet to be a concern. Like I mentioned, cloud environments was the big rush at some point. So everybody ran to the cloud environment. Everybody wanted their kit off-prem. But I mean, at the back end, they needed to come back because they realized it's not going to fit or it's not going to work for that environment. And that's specifically with AI as well. The AI gold rush that we're seeing at the moment is people are jumping onto it, expecting to reduce headcount, expecting to automate a lot of tasks, save a lot of money. But ultimately, like I mentioned earlier as well, if you don't feed it the correct information, if you don't utilize it the way it should be, then you're going to sit with a half-built house that you can't complete.
Yeah. And then it doesn't improve the business, doesn't change. You sit in the same place. Very interesting. What should we look forward to with AI? What should we be excited about what it can do for businesses, for us as individuals?
Like I mentioned, the HP portfolio is quite vast. And I mean, for helping your day-to-day operations team, that's kind of where you want to start at. You want to make sure that you free up some resources. You don't want them doing the minor stuff. You want them to focus on the bigger task. And I think with the likes of our AI Opsram portfolios like that can actually help you automate those tasks. It can advance your security. It can make sure that when certain aspects need to happen automatically or when certain security stuff can happen automatically, you kind of do that preemptively. So the software will handle it for you. There's no worrying, need to jump onto a thing, fix it manually. Everything can happen in an automatic sense. So I guess automation is a big thing. Cybersecurity is also a huge thing that we're seeing. With all this vast amount of data, people need to get their hands on it. You kind of want to keep it protected. And I also believe in automating certain tasks within your environment. So if you have certain systems in place, you kind of want that to be as responsive and as quick as possible. Okay, so you definitely don't want to sit and wait for something to happen. The back end reporting and stuff like that can happen automatically. So you kind of want that freedom of movement. And I believe that's kind of where AI is pushing it, making sure it frees up resources rather than, like you asked the question earlier, about job security and etc. So it's there to assist rather than to displace.
And if you were to give like 3 words or a word or a couple on the quick fire benefits of AI, like what would you say? What would they be?
Definitely the security portion of it, automation, and freeing up resources.
That's super helpful. Anything we've left out or something that you would like to leave everyone with, like in light of our conversation, in light of AI and the way the world's going and the speeds at which we're operating? Any final words?
Yeah, like I said, don't be scared to interface with it. I think a lot of people don't understand it. Within the HPE portal, there is a lot of ways you can kind of interact with some of the AI tools that we've got. I think it's very important to understand it before you start selling it. So for me, I would like I would say, go to the HPE portal, go have a look, go have a feel, go play a little bit with it, understand actually what we're positioning and why we're positioning it, and I think you'll see the great benefit of it.
Mark, thank you so much for your time. Again, huge value, super insightful. A lot I need to take time to study, understand more, and I think all of us. But I think, like you say, it's exciting to keep learning and what's going to happen with all this technology. So thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Yeah, we're quite excited to see where this AI market is going to go.
Thank you again.